посмотрели, что можно увидеть еще в окрестностях Брума. И мы приехали на крокодиловую ферму, в парк, где можно посмотреть и покормить крокодила. Что идем смотреть. Естественно, нет маски, нет входа. Вход стоит $35 с человека. Что еще? Открыты они всего лишь 3 часа, с 2 до 5. И можно будет посмотреть и покормить крокодильчиков. Тут вот есть всякие экспонаты, крокодильи яйца, череп, книги, сувениры. Ага, вот кусочек крокодиловой кожи будет стоить $50. Ну, можно купить 2 и сделать пояс. Есть вот такие всякие изделия. Ага, вот белт, пояс стоит $259. Ага. Крокодилье яйцо 20. О, боже мой, черепа маленьких крокодильчиков 50, но я даже не знаю, зачем люди продают это. И детские сувениры. Сразу мы вошли, и парень нам вручил маленького крокодильчика, но они такие злые, что у него завязан рот. Я не люблю этого, но... Это крокодил из соленой воды.
How old?
About 18 months.
Really?
Yeah.
So super slow.
Super slow growing, yeah.
That's how you get so
18
big and stay
месяцев.
so old, right?
18 месяцев
So the males,
этому
they'll
малышу.
literally keep
Он
growing till they die.
тепленький,
Females get about
загадненький.
3.5, 4 meters long. The males just keep going.
So the big ones will...
Yeah, look.
Так, ну что, пошли искать, где крокодилы. Where, Брэндон? It's water.
Yeah.
Это все вот эта вот вода. Честно говоря, только поняла, что это вода. И вот там, вот, я не знаю, видите, плавает крокодильчик.
Look, there's one there. It's just slowly floating through.
А, it's his face?
Yeah, it's just his eyes.
А. Их тут много. Я вижу, Брэндон, I think this one, I can see eyes, another one. It's a lot of them. Вот. Я не знаю, видно вам или нет, но вот они все вот, где маленькие вот такие вот, как грудочки, это все крокодилы. Вот везде, где вот эти вот, это все крокодилы, то есть их тут очень много. Можно даже, увидеть, как они вот там потихонечку дрифтуют.
So
Угу.
that's them there, sitting there waiting.
Угу. А здесь живут вот американские аллигаторы, и вот мы прямо можем на них посмотреть очень близко. Вот просто себе лежат, как коряшки.
So yeah, more docile than saltwater crocodiles found in Florida.
Угу. It's all saltwater crocodiles here. Это все крокодилы, господи, живущие в соленой воде. Эти были найдены во Флориде и привезены сюда. Вот один начал двигаться там вдалеке, чуть-чуть. Но очень медленно. Вот, если вы видите его носик. А здесь еще есть клеточка. Угу. Вот Брэндон сказал, вот такие вараны у них просто бегают там, где он работает. Вот они, конечно, говорит, надо все равно их опасаться. Они убить не убьют, но они очень могут сильно ранить.
So you saw this one here, eh?
Yeah.
Trying to pretend he's a
Yes.
piece of wood.
Ага. Этот один притворяется куском дерева. Если вы его видите, вот он прямо, вот его мордочка. Так, ну что, идем дальше смотреть. Уже мы нашли 2 таких прудика, где крокодилы. Есть еще один, похоже. Тоже обнесен забором. Мы идем на него посмотреть. Ага. Зои. Это Зои. 4 метра в длину. 4 метра и 30 сантиметров.
So she's old.
She's old?
Yeah.
Очень старая леди.
She was captured in the Northern Territory and she lived in Brум Zoo, in Perth Zoo for 20 years. She came here in 1998. So 24 years ago. So she was, before she was in captivity, she was at least 48 years old, and look how long she
Yeah,
is.
oh, yeah. It's 4 meters and 30 centimeters. Очень старая леди Зои.
Something's happened to her. Let's see how her jaw's all so dislocated. I'm sure she'd still make a mess of you though.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Hi, Zoe.
А вот мы еще, смотрите, идем, называется этот парень Красный Барон. Вообще вы видите этот размер? Ну вот моя рука, я не знаю, как бы вам показать размер. Он огромный. Просто огромный. Лежит, не шевелится. Вообще написано, что он звезда японского children show в 2007 году, которое началось. А затем его перевезли в Перт. А where's Windham?
It's further north.
Ну то есть его поймали здесь все равно. Он родился в Австралии. Look on his tail, блин. Смотрите на его хвостик. А вот здесь вот рассказано, какие крокодилы были самые большие в истории.
There you go. 5 meters weighs 1000 kilos.
Вот так вот. Вот 10-метровые крокодилы были, 8 метров, 8,5 в Австралии. В общем, такие.
After he killed a horse.
After he killed a horse?
He was captured after he killed a horse.
Вот this crocodile?
Yeah.
Значит, вот этот крокодил был пойман и, скажем так, увязненный, попал сюда после того, как он убил лошадь. То есть он довольно-таки опасный парень. А вообще, наверное, природа, знаете, создала крокодилов идеально, потому что если верить, да, тому, что они прошли, как бы были с динозаврами, прошли все это время, и да, совсем не изменились, значит, это идеальные творения. Так, ну а здесь у нас крокодилы, которые живут в пресной воде. Как вы знаете, они не агрессивные, да, вот, ага. Вот слышите, видите, там водичка колышется, это вот там они заседают, но, ага, вон один плывет. И Брэндон вот рассказывает мне, что когда он был на крокодилей ферме в Квинсленде, ага, а вот тут прямо один с них сидит. И он рассказывал, что гид просто ходил мимо них, ходил прямо между ними. И они просто лежали, и никто на них не напал, потому что пресноводные крокодилы. А вот один выскочил, Брэн. Пресноводные крокодилы, ну, они не агрессивные, практически не нападают. Я не знаю, видно, вот он под водой просто вот плывет. Вот он прямо, камера на нем.
So yeah, it says that they're generally not a threat to humans, except during breeding season. The females become very aggressive.
Вот они не нападают на людей, в принципе, кроме сезона, когда они несут яйца и самки защищают свои гнезда. Вот только тогда они могут напасть. Вот такой вот крокодильчик тут милый. Только что присела сделать фото с этим крокодилом, он на меня напал. Ну как напал? Хотел, видно, напасть, но клетка мешает. А здесь, смотрите, у меня такое ощущение, что это, как, знаете, клетки в тюрьме. Вот здесь написано «Мади, extremely dangerous». Пожалуйста, держитесь подальше от забора. Вот он, Мади, вон его глаза. Питается он мертвыми курицами. Там вот указано. Ну, это очень странно на самом деле, потому что написано, что он особо опасен, но у него одинарная защита только вот этой, господи, сеткой, рабицей. И все, больше ничего нет. У многих крокодилов двойная. Одесса, ой, это что-то другое. Это кайман здесь уже, у него воды почти нету. Вот он лежит себе и отдыхает. Я так понимаю, здесь вот в основном кайманы сидят. Здесь в 3 часа начнется шоу по кормлению крокодилов. Что? Вот смотрите, они уже повылазили из воды. Они уже четко, видно, знают свое время. Вот. И уже ждут кормления. А вот один красавец начал двигаться в сторону кормителей, потому что, видно, знают они свое время. И вот он подходит ближе. Уже ротик подготовил для еды. Вот смотрите, их все больше и больше вылазит. Я постараюсь тоже стать. Вот. Вылазят. Вот там была драчка небольшая. Все они сдвинулись в эту сторону. Этот с открытым ртом лежит, он ни на секунду не пошевелился. То есть такое ощущение, что лежит мумия, статуя. И один еще есть вот ближе. Так. Пока изменений нет. Интересно смотреть за вот этим крокодилом. Он вообще не шевелится, он застыл как статуя, но вот там вот в ротике у него что-то, вот видно, как он дышит. Так, наш друг двигается ближе. Максимально близко. Вот он.
Now, as you can see, there is one very thin diamond white fence separating you and quite possibly the worst day of your entire life. So please, feel good to take photos with your phones, with your cameras, video cameras, whatever. Please no hands over the fence, through the fence, or under the fence. Once you go through that fence, you enter their territory. They are highly territorial animals. They're going up to about 14 kilometres an hour in land. If it hits you at the fence, it is going to hurt. What you're doing, what you look like, what you're wearing, I'm running straight out of that gate and nobody's going to stop you. That's rule number 3. Please do not lock me inside the enclosure. Sounds stupid, but it has happened before. Once again, if they end up in the feeding bay of me, it puts me in danger and it puts you guys in danger as well. Understood?
Yeah.
Beauty. Right, our plan today is we're going to start right here. So here we have 70 saltwater crocodiles that we're going to have to give a feed, a bit of a talk about them, what they're doing
70 крокодилов, ребята, 70.
American gators, feed them, have a bit of a yarn about them. After that, we're going to go see the red baron, about a big 5.5 saltwater crocodile. Come on!
Ой.
Good chickens. Come on! All right. Big boy. Come on! Come on!
Ой.
Come on! Come on! Come on! All right. So as I said, first of all, this is long lake. So this lake goes back about 165 metres. It spreads about 60 metres either side. So in here, as I said, we have 70 saltwater crocodiles. Now, just because there's 70, we don't attempt to feed all 70 at once. So today, all these blokes coming out, they're hungry, they're going to have a feed. Tomorrow, there'll be a whole new set of crocodiles there that are going to come out and have a feed as well. Now, saltwater crocodiles are highly territorial animals. So this bloke right over here with a big cyst on the side of his face, right here, he's one of the big bosses in the whole pond. So he lives in this corner and he's got 2 girlfriends. So we have 70 males and 10 females in this one pond. So he lives over there with 2 girls. There's another one that usually lives over in that corner, over there. He lives in there with 1 girl, so that leaves another 7 for the rest of the 58 males in the pond. So what you see right here, right now, is not normal. You will never see this many saltwater crocodiles all living together in the wild. It's actually one of the only places in Australia where you can see this many saltwater all living together. So this was actually an experiment done by Malcolm Douglas. Oh, come on! It's actually an experiment done by Malcolm Douglas back in the day to see how they react together, see how they live together. So all these crocs in here, They were all born together, they were bred together, they've grown up together. They don't like each other, but they do tolerate each other. So in the wild, this one area could potentially be the territory for just one saltwater crocodile. So in here, we have 7. So they don't like each other, they do fight. They're like every brother and sister. You guys do fight. I guarantee you guys don't go ripping your brother and ripping his legs off. You don't go bite their nose off. These guys, they will fight. For example, where's one? There's one over here, missed their foot. So they'll miss their foot and they can actually retract that muscle, reroute their blood flow, and it would not bother him in the slightest. So he'll get that foot bitten off, they'll get hurt, they'll go back out in the water today, tomorrow they'll be coming in the water like nothing's happened as well. Now, we're in our wet season at the moment, so it's actually one of the best times of the year to come here, see the crocodiles. Where they're the most aggressive, they're hungry, they're energetic, and it's also when they start breeding and mating as well. So, there we go. Once the females lay eggs, they actually become more aggressive, more territorial than the males. So, for me, I try not to hand feed the females only because they can bite my arm off a lot faster than I can move it out of the way. So, the males are a lot more predictable, and I can read them a lot better as well. Come on! Now, the first thing about the saltwater crocodile is they're not actually called saltwater crocodiles. Their true name is Indo-Pacific estuarine crocodile. And 70% of them actually prefer to live in the fresh water. That's because if they're in salt water, their bodies are working 24/7 continuously trying to filter out all that salt water from their bodies. So they've actually got a gland at the back of their throat called the palatal gland. So that acts as their very own desalination plant. So if we get one with their mouth open, and then you see, you can't see the back of his throat, there's just kind of one white spot, that's that gland. So he will never ever eat his food underneath the water. So he'll always come out, eat it on land. If you open that valve up underneath the water, then he actually fill up like a big water balloon and drown. So they're trying to avoid that as well. Give him a few more feed. Now, every time I do, someone always says, how do you tell the difference between a male crocodile and a female crocodile? The easiest way to tell their difference is their size. So obviously that's a big bloke here. This little one here is a girl. So the size is quite noticeable. Females can get up to about 3.5 metres, maybe 4. A male saltwater crocodile actually never stops growing to the day he dies. So they can easily grow up to 6 metres and weigh in excess of 1 ton as well. Give them a few more bits to eat. Come on! Come on! Come on! So what we try and avoid to do, we try not to throw one piece of meat between 2 crocodiles because we don't want to fight them, we don't want to cause stress to the crocodile. We just want to live happy, chill out, get their feed, go back in the water, and that's them done for the day. Oh, got that one. Give your feed. One more over here. Alright, we are out of food, so what we're going to do now, guys, we're going to go straight down that, where that gate is over there, to our American
Так, мы
alligator.
пришли кормить других ребят. Это... Сейчас будет... Ага. Эти тоже готовы, ребятки.
I'll say this, all this COVID stuff going on, you don't have to wear your mask out here, but just be mindful of one another. If you need a cough, just go back, cough, don't cough on someone else, and we'll be sweet.
Just about coughing someone, man.
Yeah. Alright, a few more like that, that'll be right. Alright, so as I said, guys, these are our American alligators. Now, these fellas are only found in the southern parts of America. You can pretty much expect to find them in every body of fresh water there is. Your lakes, rivers, your golf courses. Maybe it was a year, 2 years ago, maybe there was a video going on Facebook or Instagram. That massive 6-metre gator was walking on the golf course in Florida. They can get that big, but that's not normal. So males typically 4.5 metres, females 3.5 metres. Now, unlike a saltwater crocodile, who's a highly territorial animal, these guys are not very territorial at all. They're quite calm, they're quite placid, they're nowhere near as aggressive. The easiest way to tell the difference between a gator and a salty is their snout as well. So the snout's a lot stubbier, it's shorter, it's flatter, their eyes are higher on top of their head as well, and their teeth. So if you've seen the salties, their teeth stick out their mouth like that, they look pretty mean, pretty angry. These gators, they interlock nicely, it kind of looks like they're smiling all the time as well. So they're quite lazy, and when I feed them, I've got to get a lot more close to them than I would the salty. So give one a shot here. Come on! Come on! So you will find these guys in the wild, living together, jumping on top of each other, eating the same food. It doesn't really bother them too much either. Get one of this side for you guys. Come on! Come on! Come on! Come on, big boy. Now, one of my favourite things about them is the way they walk. So gators like to walk quite high, quite tall, just kind of like a goanna, where their salties tend to walk pretty low, drag themselves through the sticks, through the mud. So sometimes, because they're so used to getting fed off this jetty, it's hard to get them out of the water, but because it's the wet season, they're getting a bit more energetic. So we'll give it a shot of coming out of the water, so you can see how they walk. Come on! Now in here we've got about, come on.
Oh, this is so close.
There we go.
Like,
Come on.
broken up out of that.
So we've got about in here about 20 gators, but we've only got males. So there's no females in here at all. Come on. Come on. So they are lazy. Come on. Come on. There we go. You heard that then? So the gators are actually a lot more vocal than the salties as well. So they'll growl, or the growl's a lot deeper, it's a lot more aggressive, and they're a lot more loud as well. So we'll give him one more chance. Come on. Come on. No, try one on this side. Come on. There's one already out here, but he's not going to walk up. He's missing the toes. Come on. So if you look here, you've got the best example, but when they walk pretty high. Come on. There we go. He's nice and gentle. That was a salty in big form, trying to get me as well. Now, as I said, we've got about 15 to 20 male-only gators in here. We accumulated these guys about 10, 15 years ago when someone actually tried to smuggle them through Sydney Airport when they were little babies. Obviously, Customs caught them. Malcolm Douglas caught wind of it, got the right licenses, and they've been here ever since. So, if you have them as pets in America, they can be trained and they can be tamed as well. A saltwater crocodile can never ever be trained. So, if you want to have these guys as a pet in Australia, it's actually easier to acquire a license to own a lion than it is for a gator. That's because if they were to get in any of our fresh waterways, it would be an environmental disaster. So they'll be top of the food chain, there'll be nothing out there that could eat them or kill them, except human beings. They would multiply by the thousands every year. So places like the Avon back down in Perth, the Murray River, anywhere like that, these guys would thrive. So we're trying to avoid that. So we've had it with things like the camels, the foxes, rabbits, anything that's an introduced species into Australia. They've gotten out of control. The exact same thing will happen with these guys, and it'll be a lot more dangerous as well. So we're trying to avoid that. You can get a license for a male, which is what Malcolm did. It's even harder to get a license for a female and to keep males and females together, only because then they're going to start breeding, and that's when things get out of hand as well. But, so they're one of the only reptiles in the world. They're one of the only reptiles in the world that can actually live in sub-zero temperatures. So what they will do, they will know that the winter time's coming. They'll eat anything and everything around them, try to strap themselves up, gear themselves to go. When the time comes, they can lower their heart rate down to 2 beats per minute and then lower their metabolism right down as well, so they can store their fat, store their energy. Places like Texas, where these guys are, there's a big deep freeze in Texas 2 years ago, so they're there. What they can do, they'll stick their nose out of the water on a 45-degree angle and the ice can actually freeze around their snout and lock them in. Every crocodilian, if it wanted to, only needs to eat twice a year, so they can be locked in for 6 months and they're pretty sweet. But when that ice melts and they're free, they're going to come out angry, they're going to come out hungry, so you better watch out, you don't want to be in their way either. So if I decided one day that I was hot and I just want to go swim, go up the end of the jetty, and just one of these blokes attack me, I can expect the whole pack to come and attack me as well. They don't hunt in packs, but they all want a bit of the same meal. So I'm like the salty. If a salty grabbed me, that salty might not eat me for 6 months, but he watched my body like a hawk, and if any other crocodile came to eat me, that crocodile would attack the other croc and it'd be game on. So these guys, they're pretty generous and they're pretty nice with their food as well. Come on! Last piece. That was our last piece, I think. Yep. So what we're going to do now, guys, we're going to follow this fence line all the way around, go directly behind us. The red
А
barrel.
мы пришли кормить красного барона, этого огромного.
Right, so this is the red baron, and as you can see, he is a big crocodile. He is massive. So he's about 5.5 meters, and he weighs about 900, almost weighs a ton. That we know of at the moment. So
Весит
crocodile once it
тонну,
gets this size, it's
5,5
about 5
метров.
meters, 5.5 meters. That's considered a big crocodile. Now, as I said, a lot of people when we were holding the baby crocs, a male saltwater crocodile will never stop growing to the day he dies. So a life expectancy of a crocodile in the wild is about 80 years. In captivity, it's anywhere between 80 to 110 years. So the oldest one at the moment in Australia is about 112 years old, and that's at the top of Queensland at the moment. So when it gets this size, their tail's about 50% their body length and 1/3 of their body weight. So when they're in the water and swimming around, all that power comes from that tail. So an easy way to tell or measure the size of a crocodile, you can either measure its tail, times it by 2, and then people say you can measure its head and then times it by 7, and that will give you the full length of that crocodile, or a rough estimate of the length of that crocodile as well. All this here, so that's all its armour here. So the only other thing that can get through that armour is another crocodile's jaw. So underneath, if you held the baby's croc, or had your baby crocs, they're quite soft underneath as well. So they don't like hanging around on rocky surfaces too much, only because it disturbs underneath their belly. So they like to tend to stay on nice, soft, standing surfaces. Now the red baron here, so we've got the red baron here, we've got Zooey behind it, and then we've got Bluey. So Bluey is one of our biggest crocodiles. So we've got Red Baron, Zooey and Bluey are 3 of our oldest and 3 of our biggest crocodiles in the park. Now when we walk past and you see Zooey, you can see his face is all busted up. So he was actually caught in Darwin Harbour some years ago and he was attacking the outboard motors on boats. So you see his jaws all twisted up, he's missing a few teeth, he's not looking good, but he's still extremely aggressive, extremely dangerous and extremely strong as well. So you've got to be wary. Come on!
Oh, no way.
Come on! There we go. So he's getting old, he's a bit of a grumpy old man, this bloke. He's nice and gentle though. Come on!
Gentle.
There we go. So what we do, because it's the wet season and they're always hungry, we can feed them a bit more. But come to our dry season, we don't feed them as much because they don't have enough energy to digest their food. So if we overfed him, he could go in his water and he might not come out for another 6 months. So we're trying to avoid overfeeding all of these crocodiles in here. Come on! Ooh, here we go, one more. Now, each crocodile, no matter what size it is, has the ability to jump 2/3 its body length out of the water. So if it's a smaller crocodile, his tail's going to have less power, he's still going to be able to jump the same amount or his body length out of the water as a big crocodile. Bigger tail, more power as well. So go back to Zooey. So the Red Baron and Zooey here. Red Baron here, his lifetime at the park, he has had 7 girlfriends. Oh man. And at the moment he's got 0. That's because he has eaten every single one of them. That just goes to show you how territorial they actually are. So if they don't want the female in his house, in his pond, he's not going to have it. Just like if you went swimming in his house, in his pond, he's not going to have you in there either. Old mate Zoo behind you, he's had 2 girlfriends. The first one he ate and killed, but the second one, because he's all a bit busted up, he's not very strong, he only beat her up. So she actually got so scared, she dug a hole under the fence. Now Bluey lives in his enclosure with 2 girlfriends. So it's one big bachelor pad now, so we cut Red Baron at 7, he's not getting any more. Zooey was going for the record, we cut him at 2, he's not getting any more. What we do, if we want to introduce the female into the ponds, we put the female in the back pond and the male in the front pond. We put a fence between the 2. Now, it could take 6 months, it could take a year, it could take 2 years, we don't know. But eventually, those 2 crocodiles will be laying side by side at the fence. That's when we know they've formed some sort of a bond together. So we remove the fence, that's how we see when they react towards each other. Obviously, Red Baron doesn't want anybody in his house, so he's not getting any more girls, and neither is Zooey. So Bluey lives pretty happily in his house with 2 girlfriends. He's our oldest croc. He doesn't come out of the water too much anymore, only because he's got a bit of arthritis in his back legs. He just likes us to throw him food in the water, and that's him set, ready to go. But that's enough of this bloke. We're going to move on. We're going to skip Zooey and Bluey, and we're going to head behind Bluey to the freshwater crocodile.
Мы идем кормить теперь фрешвотер крокодилов. Они тоже готовы. Я думаю, что встану здесь. I think good point here. Here good point.
Yeah, this is the fresh water.
Yeah. Посмотрите на вот это добро.
I think they're hungry. Jesus, look, they're still coming.
Yeah. Посмотрите, атака крокодилов.
Alrighty guys, so these are our Australian freshwater crocodiles, or our Johnson freshwater crocodiles. Now, I say Australian because they are only found in the northern parts of Australia. So pretty much from the Good River Road, up top of WA, through Northern Territory, Darwin, up top of Queensland, that's their home and that's where they live as well. Now, as you can see, they're not very territorial, not very vicious. They're even less territorial and even less vicious than the gators as well. So, as they crawl on top of each other, doesn't bother them too much. That noise there, that's called a jaw slap or a jaw pop. That's just his 2 jaw bones slapping together at the same time, and that pressure and that speed, all the air is getting released straight from his mouth. So, hello. There we go. Now, unlike saltwater crocodiles who's built for strength,
Like how
these
you're
guys are
walking.
built for speed
So
and
funny.
so fast they have a snap rate of 3 bites per second. So in 1 second, they open and close their mouth 3 times. That's because they have a diet of things like lizards, snakes, insects, birds, frogs. So anything that's super fast, for example, they wouldn't be able to snap a bird out of the sky as it's flying past. So get this place. Good, there we go. They are fast. Now, can anybody tell the difference between a freshwater crocodile and a saltwater crocodile? just from looking at it?
Size.
Size. So size is definitely one. So this bloke right here, it's about a fully grown male. And that one, where is she? That one right there, it's a fully grown female, so they don't get very big either. So there's never been a human fatality in Australia from a freshwater crocodile. People have been bitten, but the only reason you're getting bitten is purely out of self-defense. So if you go swimming, they get spooked, they're going to have a crack here, but we are too big for them to eat, so they don't want anything to do with us. They just want to tell us to get out of the way, you're in my home, get out of the water as well. So if you see them around your campsite, one of their favourite foods is fish. If you do see them, throw your rod in, there's some good sign, there's some good fish around. They like barra, wrecking salmon, anything like that. If you want to take photos of them, always try and stick to the back of them. Never ever get between them and the water. The water's their home and that's where they feel safe. So if you get between them, you spook them, they're going to spin around, they're going to head straight for that water. And if you're in their way, unfortunately, it is going to hurt as well. So we've got about 25 to 30 male and female freshwater crocodiles here. Some we've had since baby, we've bred them, they've grown up here, and some have been brought in because they've been sick or just eating as well. So you can see here, you can see a bird right here, missing bottom jaw, there's a few that's missing teeth, there's a few that's missing toes, missing feet. That one's got a broken nose. So they come here, they get fed every day, they get looked after, they get a good home, so it's pretty much like a luxury 5-star hotel for them. So, as I said before, one of their favourite food to eat is the frogs. Now what we got, as close as to give everyone at the moment, is something called the cane toad. I'm sure you've all heard of them. If a freshwater crocodile ate and consumed a cane toad, you can actually die within 30 minutes of eating it. So, the saltwater crocodile ate it, you'll make it sick, you'll make it sick, so, at the moment, I had a boy spot a couple of months ago who worked for the suicide right now. He was saying they're trying to invent some form of algae, so
Вот так ребята плямкают.
it will kill the cane toad. But what's happening is, at the moment, every frog is eating algae and every frog is dying. And they're trying to figure out a way how they're going to stop that and also how they're going to release it back into the wild as well. So places like Queensland where they've got cane toads been there for years, so things like snakes, lizards, anything like that eats frogs, their numbers have dropped drastically along with the freshwater crocodiles as well. So we're trying to sort something out in WA and we're trying to avoid it, but at the moment it's hard and it's getting on top of everyone as well. But from here, we're going to spin around and we're going to go not the first corner there, but the second corner. That's what we call a death roll. That's what they do. They're going to grab their prey, they're going to spin around, mainly because they're going to try and disorientate their prey. So they can do that, or they can either, for example, a pig's on the water's edge and it grabs a hold of someone's leg or a cow's leg, it's going to spin around and try and rip that leg straight off. So you definitely don't want to be on the receiving end of a death roll. It's definitely not going to end well for you. Nice slow one. Now this is the scale print here. So what we do, we never feed the females in front of the males or let them get the food first. So she's in the right to feed her right now. The male sees that she gets the food first, that's when it becomes quite dangerous. He's going to get jealous, he's going to have a crap now. So she just wants to get food, get out of the way, and that's what we want for her. So we don't want to get good. Good ones.
Вы поняли, нельзя кормить, это его подруга, нельзя кормить ее на его глазах, иначе он может ее убить, скажем так, от ревности.
Now he's going to hold that pearl float. He could hold it up for the next 5 hours, we don't know. So if he holds on to that, he doesn't get a feed.
Он не может
We don't just throw
вытянуть эту
food in these
штуку.
ponds willy-nilly hoping they'll eat them. What happens, they'll just sink to the bottom, they'll go rotten and it will smell. So we only feed the ones that come out and actually present themselves. Now, all crocodiles, they want to work on the element of surprise when they attack their prey. So they learn patterns and they learn behaviours. So if they know you guys get to a campsite, for example, at 7 o'clock every morning, set up your camp, or a pig or some cattle gets down to the water's edge, has a drink at 7 o'clock in the morning, they're going to go there, they're going to get there at 5 o'clock in the morning, they're going to wait under the water until something touches straight on that water's edge. That's how people get caught out and that's how crocodile attacks happen as well. Now, on my tours, I used to say that they can hold their breath for 2.5 hours. But there's actually a recent study done at one of Steve Aaron's research facilities over in Queensland where they recorded one holding its breath for more than 7 hours long. So if you can hold your breath for that long, you've got a good chance of surviving a crocodile attack. There you go. Give him a bit of a pull.
Он не может вытащить этот
More
буёк.
likely, he thinks that's an animal, so he's going to grab it, he's going to take it under the water and try and drown it as well. So the more I pull this, the more he thinks that's alive. Good boy there. Another death roll. Now all this green stuff on top of the water, that's not algae, that's duckweed. So that's something Malcolm Douglas introduced to the park. In the winter time, it acts as a thermal blanket for them, it keeps them warm, but it also keeps them hidden, and it keeps them protected as well. Birds in the wild generally do like to eat it, but at this park I don't know why birds don't like to come. But from here, that's enough of here. We're going to head straight next door now. Have a bit of yarn about here.
В общем, парнягу покормить не удалось, потому что он уж слишком вцепился в этот буёк. Так, это мы пришли к капели, к очень агрессивному парню. Уже видно, что он агрессивный.
Because I wanted to get out of the way. So this is Capelli. He's renowned for beating up his wife.
Oh, another.
What?
Domestic abuse.
Yeah, nice job. So once he comes out,
Короче, его жена немножечко подмяла его кровь. Мы думали, что он на кого-то напал, но...
well, this is just a pearl float. So from me throwing this in his water, that triggers that territorial entity. So something's in his house, in his home, he's going to come check out what it is. So hopefully, once he comes up, she'll get out of the way. Come on.
Why is she
Come on.
bleeding? Well, probably hit herself.
Come on, big fella.
Yeah. Or maybe it's the...
Come on. Show him a bit of chicken. So we're feeding them chickens at the moment. We feed them a mix of chickens and beef. So you get a delivery of chickens, we feed them that. We run out of chickens, we go get some beef, and they get beef as well. So they got a pretty good diet. Come on. Not you. Come on. Come on.
Not interested.
Come on.
The bear uses his mouth.
She doesn't want to get that first because it's not going to end well for her. She's backing off now. We'll show her one more.
Ага, нет, вот наоборот, вот это с красным ртом, это его жена, а вот этот Капелли.
Now once he's got his mouth open, if you can see down his throat, that's
Посмотрите,
that
он
bladder
огромный.
down right at the back of his throat that I was talking about. So that's the way he filters out of the salt water, and that's how he keeps the water from entering his belly when he's under the water as well. Come on! There you go, big fella. Come on! There we go, nice and gentle. Now, who knows what to do when they get attacked by a
There's
crocodile?
three, just pray to God.
Die? That's a possibility. A lot of tours I do, people always say poke him in the eyes. Now, for example, you're going for a swim in the creek, old mate Capelli here decides to grab you by the leg. You think, I might poke him in the eye. So,
Oh my God, don't poke him in the eye.
calm him down a bit. So me rubbing him between the eyes like this actually, once he closes his eyes, that's what calms him down. So he'll close his eyes, drop his head, and we can easily work with him. Now, you think you're going to poke him in the eyes. Now, if you're squeamish, look away. So we're going to poke him in the eye.
Ой,
Doesn't do much. We'll try the other one. Does not do a lot. That's because when I poke him in the eye, his eyes aren't actually there anymore. So what he can do, he can retract his muscle, pull his eyeball all the way back here behind his ear. That's because his eyes are the greatest weapon he has. He needs him to see, needs him to eat, needs him to hunt, needs him to do everything. So he wants to protect those eyes at all costs. I've heard stories of people being attacked by a crocodile, poking in the eye and surviving. All those crocodiles have been less than 2.5 meters long. My finger is nowhere near long enough to be able to reach his eye when it's pulled all the way back there. If you want to run from a crocodile, don't run in a circle. Because if you run in a circle, you're going to run around and then you're going to end up straight back in front of him again. Don't run in a zigzag because you're just wasting your time, you're wasting your energy. Run in a straight line as fast as you can. They can run up to about 14 k's an hour, but only in short bursts, about 20 meters before they run out of energy and they give up. So if you're walking and you know you're in croc country, try to stay back from the water's edge. It gives you a chance, or separates you a bit more from the body and his head. That's all his jaw muscle. So they say saltwater crocodiles, that's how we transport them around as well. I'll give them another one. They do have tongues, but their tongues stay stationary. Unlike we can move our tongues around, their tongues stay in the one position. But good. So they are known as well. I've only ever seen it once on the tours. They are known to actually jump.
ну что, я надеюсь, вам понравилось кормить крокодилов. В принципе, мне было очень интересно. Едем дальше. А мы сейчас в настоящей австралийской глубинке. Этот маленький городок называется Робот. И чего мы сюда приехали? Мы приехали просто перекусить, когда ехали с крокодильей фермы. Просто вокруг ничего нет. Просто какие-то места, это даже лесом не назовешь. Что идем посмотрим. Ребята, ну я хочу сказать вам, что такой настоящий австралийско-глубиночный паб. Вот так вот. То есть они вот как бы немножечко под Америку, да, пытаются. Там номера разных автомобилей. Во дворе есть бильярдный стол. Все вот очень-очень такое, знаете, очень по-австралийски. Мы пока заказали пиво, чтобы немножко охладиться. Обслуживание всегда одинаковое. Вы платите на баре и только потом что-то получаете. Ну, потом посмотрим меню. Персонал оказался очень такой приятный. Ребята подошли, сказали, что вы выбрали самый холодный столик, просто под кондиционером. После крокодиловой фермы нам было так жарко, что мы решили сесть охладиться. Там есть пиво, я думаю, что мы пойдем дальше, потому что меню очень интересное, но, знаете, очень-очень традиционно австралийское. Все очень такое плотное, жирное, все такое много мяса, подливки на картофель.